Subconscious mind mastery, 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 mastery.
Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. And look, I have another new face. Tracy Arnold. Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery.
Hi, Thomas. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is a little bit long overdue, but Tracy is one of you. I mean, she reached out to me for an astrology reading a while back, and that led into a conversation about the subconscious mind. And she has some cool stuff going on. So we kind of put two and three together, and here we are. So this is great. And we are at least introducing you here during March FunNess. But I thought maybe we would do a broader, deeper introduction of you later. Kind of backwards here a little bit, but we're in the moment. And so why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what kind of stuff you practice, and then we're going to talk about some March FunNess over our heads.
Okay. Well, I'm a person that just loves everything to do with astrology, loves subconscious mind mastery, working with that and the intuitive realm. I started working on that through meditation to age myself a little here. Back before we had Google and that you could Google everything to figure out how to be more connected to the home office, as you say. And so went to the library, old-fashioned style, and just found some books and started meditating and did the homework. And now I just, try to always maintain that intuitive connection. I work with it like on a dimmer switch. So that way, when I'm with people like you, like-minded souls, the dimmer switch goes up and you never know what messages come through.
Oh, what a great analogy. I've never heard that. That is so cool. Keep it on a
Yeah.
dimmer switch.
Yeah. Well, and now with Pisces season, it's really hard to keep it dimmed down. It's off the charts. It's just the doors are wide open and it's easy for anybody, even newbies, to just slip into that intuitive state and connect in.
Boy, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but you have given us one amazing tease into upcoming episodes, because I know everybody right now is leaning in and they're saying, how does she do it? That dimmer switch. So we'll get back to it. Watch for future episodes. All right. We'll tell you. She'll let you know what she found in that old dark library, wherever that was. I can just envision that, like, oh my goodness, thing from the past, unfortunately. All right. So you just hit the nail on the head of why we're talking right now, because we are in the middle of this March FunNess. We have all the planets lined up in Pisces. There were a lot of posts last week about all the planets that you can see at sunset, and it's true. I mean, and we get other times when they're in the chart, so to me it wasn't that big of a headline, but they are visible, and it's fun, and this energy is just absolutely amazing. And you were saying that it is really powerful right now, and man, I'm experiencing that too. So what kind of things are happening for you?
For me, it's just easy to go. It's like going 0 to 60 into an intuitive bliss point. So instead of just being in that nice, comfy, intuitive zone where everything is neutral and coming in, you're hitting this high point of a bliss, what I call bliss, because you just feel so happy. And even though you're aware of everything that's going on in the world, you have that level of high energy, happiness, and just knowing that everything is as it should be and is working out, even though we don't like it. But you can be in that bliss point and you're just like, yeah, it's all good. So that's what I've been experiencing. And I wish that more people could feel that, because we really need a reprieve from everything that's going on in this world right now. So it's something that I wish everybody could do.
I know it's not our purpose here in this episode, but like yesterday, I was on a hike and I asked for a special sign of an owl and a hawk. I said, like an owl or a hawk. And do you know that there were, first of all, two hawks circling? They were mating. And then about an hour or so later, walking down by a creek, and there was another hawk, and Tracy, I swear, it was backlit to the sun. And looking up at that bird with its feathers backlit from below it was the most amazing thing. And it circled. I was hiking with somebody else, one of our listeners actually, and that bird just circled for about 5 minutes, which they rarely do, as you know, in one spot. And then just a few minutes later, off in the trees, woo, 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 woo. Got
Uh,
it all.
there you
And I mean, and yeah, it's like, I love your analogy of the dimmer because it is like full volume, full blast. Okay, let's take care of one thing real quick. If somebody is saying, "Oh, that's fine for you two, but I'm not getting that," what would you say?
meditate,
Is it
meditate.
silence?
But
Is
for
it getting into a state, or what is it?
nope, start with the guided meditations. You don't
Mm,
have to, you're learning to focus your mind. So you don't want to be trying to shut everything off, because when you try to shut everything off, you're just going to sit there and hear your monkey mind. So if you start with guided meditations that take you to places that you enjoy, like if you like the ocean or walking in nature, that's going to help you to calm the mind. And it gets that part of you listening and paying attention and focused. And when you learn how to focus and quiet the mind, then you can start opening to the other side. And also, meditations with solfeggio tones in them, are the solfeggio frequencies, I should say, will help you get into different states of meditation, different areas of it. And you've talked about that before, Thomas. So you're probably more of a pro at what levels to be at. I just know that, okay, I like the sounds of this. And that's what helps me hit that intuitive state. So it's finding what works for you within the frequencies and the meditations, and over time, if you spend time doing this on a daily basis, doesn't have to be an hour, doesn't have to be half an hour, start with what you have. You're going to find that you feel so good in that space that you're going to want more of it. And you're going to start carving out the time for it and making the time for it. And you'll get to the point of where you can be in a meditative state, and your house can be, there can be a lot of hustle and bustle going on in the house because everybody's running around, but you can still be in that place of calm because you got your earbuds in, you're listening to great meditation with great music, and you're just relaxed and you get into a zone. And that's when you start learning how to tap into that intuitive space.
that is so cool. You made me think of a guy. This was back in the bass fishing days when I was doing this bass fishing tournament. And this was before earbuds, before the iPhone. I mean, we didn't even have cell phones back then. And one of the top fishermen in the world practiced this kind of thing, this mindfulness, in an environment where it wasn't popular and a time when it wasn't popular. But he would do exactly what you're talking about. So when he was at the event where they weigh all the fish at the end of the tournament day, a friend of mine walked up to him and asked him something. And with no earbuds in his ears, he turned, he said, "Huh?" and, and my friend was offended because he thought he was just being ignored, right? So, in the chaos of the house, and you've got your earbuds in, one thing I would say is when somebody speaks to you, take your earbuds out and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Beg your pardon." Don't go,
Right?
"Huh?"
Right?
from your
Right?
from your Zen zone.
Well, you get to a point where you can actually just wear one earbud, so you
Ah,
can be aware when people are talking to you. Or like I have a set of earbuds that I can have different settings where I'm completely aware of everything around me, still hearing what I'm listening to, or I can turn it down, the external volume, or I can completely shut it out. So, somebody wants to talk to me, they're standing in front of me and they're waving their arms, "Hey, can you hear me?" I'm gone. So,
Now,
yeah.
one thing like we were talking about is that it is amplified right now. The connection, what you get when you connect. I was saying the door to the home office is wide open right now. It
Mhm.
really is. And also, this is why we're doing March FunNess and why I've been talking about it, because this is unusual. Would you not agree? You've been doing this for a long time, obviously, way back to pre-computers when you first started researching this. Would you not say this is really a special amplified time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a gift. This is a gift of a huge opportunity to start this journey because it is so easy right now. It's easier than any other Pisces season that I've been through, with awareness. And it is a gift. You don't wanna miss it. This is the optimal time, and especially, within all the other energies that are going on, we are just really being given the opportunity to tune in and get that intuitive hit. And once you feel it, that's what you hang on to, because that's what you're going for.
Just even today, and we're
Yes.
recording this on the day of the new moon.
Right.
And I've been up since about 4, which was my plan, and I've been looking exactly like I said on the podcast. I'm doing everything I talked about of looking at the rest of my life with journal in hand. In fact, I was almost at the end of this one journal, so I got on Amazon, and I will have one here before 5 o'clock this afternoon in case I run out.
Right?
But, you know, I mean, and then we had this recording time set, and when you gave me the green light that we were going to record, it had to shift gears. So your dimmer switch is kind of right, because just, okay, tone that down, come be present here. And then when we get finished, I'm going back up there. Got my tea over
Right?
here, and I'm going to, just keep staying in that space all day today
Mhm.
of dancing between, getting a few things done. But today is
Mhm.
just so special. All right. So we are talking now and releasing this on Monday or Sunday or Monday of the following week here. So the first part of March, we've got Venus now in retrograde, and you had mapped out some thoughts on what we're going to be looking at for what that energy is going to shift into this week. Going to be a little different than last week, don't you think?
Absolutely. Like in the time that we are recording this, you have that opportunity to learn how to walk between two worlds. And when you do that, you can flow through your days in a very different way. It's not to say that you're going to do it every day, but with the energies that of the new moon, it's very heightened and you can have a really good flow kind of day. And moving into next week, we're going to end up finding that, wow, we had some really good energies. And now I'm not feeling so good. And it's because we had that higher vibration. And we're going to be having a shift that brings us down and brings us into a little bit more of a grounded space. And some people are going to love it because they're probably really tired of other people being very floaty and foggy, or they're tired of the fogginess themselves. So it's just having an awareness that it's going to start feeling a little more grounded for a few days. And then it's going to start feeling a little bit better, but things are going to come up into your awareness about, what did I decide on the new moon? What was my intention? And is it realistic? Can I really hit that? Am I going to be able to, get to that goal? And it's just hanging in and remembering how great you felt, and that when things shift again, the doubt is going to shift also. So don't despair. Hang in and know that in a couple of days that it's going to shift again, and you're going to have a little bit more of the emotion ocean going on because we have more water energy coming in with the moon, and flow through that. It helps us to be aware of the gap between the conscious mind and our soul. So if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, ask, what do I need to know? And see what comes up for you. And by the time we get into, get down to that full moon, you'll have a better idea of what you need to course correct, what you need to shift. So it's knowing that there are other energies that you can focus on other than that grounded feeling. You can say, oh no, I was really enjoying that new moon. How did I feel? What meditation is going to help me? Go back to Thomas's March FunNess meditation and get back into that energy. Anytime you start feeling like the energy is waning, it's going to lift you back up, and you're going to get back into that energy vibe and be able to see with a little more clarity. So
Hmm.
that's, you know, it's having that awareness. When you are aware of what's going on with the subtle energies, and we do that through astrology and these conversations, you can be better prepared. It's You want to mentally prep and think about, how am I going to get ahead of it? How am I going to stay in this high vibe? And you do that with finding the meditations and the music, and um, remembering that perspective is everything. So you want to know what your strengths are, what are your weaknesses, and when you're having a moment of doubt, dig up your strengths. Don't focus on the weakness, and just shift into another state.
That's just
Does that
awesome.
make sense?
No, it totally does. And I was thinking as you were kind of describing a little bit of that timeline, I was thinking about, we look at forward at these things through the lens of astrology, and we think,
Hmm.
okay, this should play out like how we're experiencing it. And then
Yep.
you have to always see how is it going to play out. And
Hmm.
I do also realize that while we're experiencing all this bliss and this wide open door to the home office and these downloads and even that meditation, and thank you for mentioning that again, it's the free meditation. It's on hightimelinebooks.com. It's right up at the top. And it's free for everybody during the sun's time in Pisces. And then it's going to shift to a paid meditation. We'll keep it going because that energy fell into place, but it clicked in. And I think that was just as much a part of this energy as everything. Because I'll tell you, I sat down to record that and I didn't have a plan or a script or anything. And usually I like to have a little bit of a roadmap on those meditations. I'm not kidding you. That one just fell into place, which is so Pisces.
That it absolutely is. When you get in that flow state, you can create a lot of things, and it's
Yeah.
amazing what comes out of that energy, and that just being in the intuitive mind.
Now we have the sun in Pisces. The moon is going to move on out and it will be in probably Taurus by the time we, skip Aries into Taurus already. So it's moved out. So that full on that was there during the new moon is gone by the time we're releasing this. So now we're in that gestation phase, the growth phase. The seed has been put down in the pot, and now it's going to sprout and grow out and branch some leaves. And March 14th, we're going to have the full moon, as you mentioned, which is also an eclipse. So, what are you anticipating? You've given us a little bit for this week. Extrude that out of how you kind of see this whole as applying basically to the full moon as the moon is growing. How do you see? I think it's going to be really amazing. And yet full moons can be, they can be some wonky. And one other thought, maybe to weave in there too, in contrast, as you mentioned, I think at the beginning, that while we're blissing out, the collective around us is not. They're kind of freaking out, which is the flip side of Pisces. So walk us through between now and the full moon as best you see it from this point of view.
Okay. So we want to find a balance point, because we find that you can't be too far in the bliss zone, and you can't be too far in the grounded zone. And once you set your intentions, you've got to find a way, to a degree, to let it go so that it can grow. But at the same time, you need to actually be taking some action steps, because you can't just set that intention, plant that seed, and walk away. When you plant a seed, you actually have to come back and you have to water it. You have to take the action steps to make it grow. So you just want to be mindful of what the meditations, what meditations you've worked with, where they're bringing you to, what your intentions were, and how were thinking that you were going to get to where you want to go. And keep going in that stream, and knowing that as the energy shifts, you shift what you're doing, and expect that when we come to the full moon, we're going to have a whole different energy that's having a different conversation, because now the moon is opposing the sun, which is saying, hey, um, you got to really think about what you wanted to set in motion, and you're going to be very hypercritical. You could be very analytical and wanting to plan it out and figure it out, which, yeah, that's great. But you have to leave space for things to naturally occur. So you're taking the action steps and allowing for things to have a way to flow into your life without expectation. Because when we start putting expectations, we get into the conditioned mindset, and we're wondering, oh, it hasn't come fast enough. Why isn't it happening? And we have to give that space for it to grow. And when the full moon comes, it's really talking to us about, okay, where do you need to course correct? What do you need to let go of? Maybe just a few fine tuning tweaks, and you'll be right where you want to be. So it's getting into that energy and setting new intentions if you need to, releasing what's not working. You got to acknowledge what was too much. We get a little overzealous with the great energies. So we come back down to reality. We come back down to the human zone, and we have to look at what is realistic and work with what is presenting to us. Does that make sense, Thomas?
It totally does. And I appreciate kind of the impromptu there, because I'm going to spring one more on you while we're kind
Okay.
of anticipating this. I don't have a thought on this. That's why I'd like to discuss it with you. We get up to that point of the full moon on the 14th. And I forget the date. I don't have my almanac down here at the moment, but the date that the sun leaves Pisces will be like the 20th or the 21st, probably, of
Yeah, I
March.
think it's about the 20th. Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is, between the 14th and the 20th, now we're in the tailing off phase. Do you have a thought on the best way to approach that, as all of this is just passing energy, right? But it is
Mhm.
so special and so amazing that it's almost like, to me, that's where we close this out with the highest imprint. I'm going to have to think about this, but I'm just curious your thoughts, just off the cuff, of what would be the best strategy for that final week, do you think?
Well, that final week, you're going to be asked by the universe, by the energies, the alignments of the planets, the sun and the moon, to find balance first and foremost. You have to find a balance point to where you can be centered, and you can be the calm in the storm, and you can think clearly. So you're going to be hitting that you want to hit that balance point, because then the next energy that comes in is we're going to have some Sagittarius energy in there. We're going to have Scorpio energy actually before the Sagittarius energy. And Scorpio is all about transformation. So you want to be grabbing onto that and saying, yes, I'm ready to transform. That's what I've been working on since the new moon. I have been working on this, and I'm going to keep going. And when you get into that energy and say, okay, I'm aligning with these energies so that I can transform with more grace and ease, you're going to find that things will flow a little easier for you, hopefully. If you don't, if you find that you're sitting there and you're having doubt, perspective is everything. Say, no, this is a time of transformation. So if I'm not feeling good, it means I need to transform. And what is it that I need to do to make that shift? Because then we're going to have Sagittarius energy come in, and Sagittarius is like, hey, let's have some fun. We want to have fun. We want to go on an adventure. So if you start looking at this process as an adventure, you don't necessarily have to go on an adventure. You could do it with a guided meditation. But if you look at this as an adventure to creating the new you, or the new life, or the new way of being that you want, then you're going to feel better. And then when we get into the Capricorn feeling of, okay, I'm the mountain goat, I can climb, I can get to the top of any mountain I want, I'm the goal getter, that feeds into that transformation. And you're just continuously being given energies to work with to reach your goals. And by the time we hit the sun moving into Aries, Aries is talking to you about, who are you? Who do you want to be? Who are you outside of the conditioned mindset? Really you, knowing the true you. So if you look at this part of the journey as a transformation and really honing in on who you want to be and how you want to live in the world, when you get to Aries season, you're going to be ready to take on that energy that says, who am I? And how do I want to, make changes in myself? And where am I hiding my true self, right? Because some of us hide. It's kind of hard to come out in the world and say, hey, I love astrology, I'm intuitive, or these are the things that I'm interested in. And it's okay, because you got a tribe, you got a family here with Thomas and the Fun Astrology podcast and Subconscious Mind Mastery. So you have so many things that you can tap into, that it's okay to be you. And
Yeah.
that's what Pisces is trying to teach you, right? Is how to flow and how to be you. So that way, when you get to Aries, you're ready to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to own me.
Boy, that's
And
a
I'm going
great
to make some
walk all the way.
changes,
Yes, I
right? Does
appreciate
that
that.
all make sense?
It did. And what I realized is we're going to party our way out of here. That's
Right,
what we're going
right.
to
Well,
do.
we got to take advantage of the great energy.
Woohoo. All right. Well, good deal. Tracy, I cannot thank you enough. And I'll just say, if this was our first introduction to you, I can't wait to dig into more. This is just going to be
Well, thank you.
fantastic.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Thomas. It's been
Thank
great to be
you.
here with you.
All right. And we'll just not say goodbye. We'll just say until our
No,
next episode. And how do we
absolutely.
close all of these out?
Okay. Enjoy the journey, everybody.